I was looking at the book and I stumbled upon something which I thought I'd share with you before we start kind of the the rest of the queries for what we discussed yesterday. So this was one of the utilities we used. Have any one of you tried something called data viewer to analyze, or you could say that just to verify some of the video clips that you search for? I don't know. I mean, not everybody, but I think at least, Jim, how would you verify something that's coming to you as a news, something that's been discussed in social media, whatever is of interest to you, if that is accompanied by a video file of some sort? Do you have any tools or means of verifying it? Or is there a method that you use?
No, I would actually be interested in learning more about tools to accomplish that. Typically, we look for collaborating sources, what the original source is, etc.
All right, so I think that should be of interest to you in case you need to verify something on the video side. There's something called Data Viewer, and it is a free utility. It's mostly for journalists, and I used it extensively, and there is a kind of a level of reliability I attribute to this specific utility. It's called Data Viewer, and I think I've opened it somewhere here. I'm going to show you. It's interesting. It's apart from just doing our search queries, because that sort of becomes far too many queries continuous basis. So just to break that, I'm going to share this information. Where is not Afghanistan? I want to talk about Aleppo incidents, hospital bombing. So I don't want any graphic images. So let me. Thing is, it's always something that's not very pleasant to watch, but well, when somebody is reporting from the ground situation and this particular scenario is actually shown in the books that you have, that's the reason I'm using exactly the same type of video clip. So where is full report? Russian has bombed civilian areas in Syria. Let's suppose I take a link from here, and this is the link. Everything has the advertisements. So this is Amnesty International Data Viewer. It's very simple interface. I think, this is this is what the URL is like, or the link for it. It's called citizenevidence.amnestyusa.org. So I'm going to just put the link I copied from YouTube, and I'm going to ask it to analyze it for me. I'm going to put it in the chat box. I know Jim is going to be the first one to try it right away. Okay.
I'm already there.
Already there, eh? So what happens when you do this is that it gives a lot of information about that clip. For example, it has upload date. So you have a date, it's 2019, November 15th, 2019, the time of uploading it. You can even see these links, these clickable things that you can do, like convert it to local time, and it's going to do that for you also. Like the time that is for the uploading of this video versus the time at that time or at the same time, if you convert it into your local time, it's going to show you that. It's going to also give you more information, which otherwise you may not find, or being shown in the on the face of that video inside of the YouTube. So it's going to collect some of this information from the source of code. It says, it is giving you where it came from. It originated from Twitter. It also showed up in Facebook. So it has collected all this intelligence for you. Now, the next thing I'm looking at is, why is this not, so go down, eh? It's going to break those clips into thumbnails, because the video is made up of several video images, or you could say just call them images that move and that are timed. Each of those images are called frames. So as they move, you see that playing as a video. So if what it does, what this software is doing is also breaking that file into images, or randomly picking up some images and then cross-checking it to make sure, because any type of alteration that anyone does on the video files is through breaking it first into smaller frames, and then changing some of the graphics on those frames and then reinserting back into the video. That's how they do it. So what this is doing is that it's taking those thumbnails and trying to compare it everywhere else in the social media and whatever is available to it for matching that image. It's going to do that automatically. If you click on reverse image search here, like each one of these, you can click on to check where else this photo is emerging, so that it gives you a corroborative or cross-reference wherever this image or something similar to this is used. So if I do reverse image search here, with one click, I'm able to see where else this has been used. You see all these images, these are collected. And one of the methods of verifying these video images is that, first of all, you need a point of reference, like what could be a reference that is, let's say in this scenario, it could be several pictures, but to make it into one large picture so that it gives a 360-degree view, you're going to try to connect all those images together and sort of make it appear as if it's one large image, and it is giving a 3D dimension of the entire surrounding of it. And then if there is a point of reference that you want to make a confirmation, like the minaret of a mosque somewhere that was visible, so you use it as a reference to ensure, or for others to know, that for sure these images are sort of coming from the surroundings. And then you make your own evaluations. All right, so data viewer is one of those. I thought I'd just tell you what it does, and because it is also mentioned in the book, and while we haven't done a lot on video searches, I thought maybe you could use this piece of information. Why is this not going down? It's just sticking there. Anyway, so that was the data viewer. We just had a look at it. The kind of search query we wanted to finish up. Or yeah, something that you guys mentioned yesterday, I remember, if I recall, goods and services, like products that you want to search for. Let me see if we can get to that. Goods and services. Who was asking for searching for goods and services yesterday? Is Chris there? Hi, Chris. Are you around? Are you in the class today? Chris?
I don't see him.
Yeah, I thought,
No, Chris wanted the B2B services or something like that. And then I
yes.
mentioned about opportunities and jobs.
Okay, so you wanted. Okay. Now this is a search that is looking for a Lenovo IdeaPad. So let this be the product you're looking for. So in URL, I've used the letter CA. This stands for Canada, because I want the search to restrict its pages looking for it in a URL that has the word CA, which means it is a Canadian site of some sort, without specifying. Like, I'm not saying it should be Best Buy or what else do you have over there, Walmart, whatever. But in any case, CA means that anything found in Canada. Then we've got, all these specs or specifications. IdeaPad 317. So all these are specifications placed within quotation. The price range is what you should look at. It says the price range should be $400 to $699. Here, I don't necessarily need to put the word price, but the $ certainly would ensure that it is the price we are looking for, and should be between $400 to $699. It could be new, refurbished, open box, whatever. So if you have to look for product, then obviously this could be, one of the search queries you can insert. Other than product and services, there was a, okay, let me see if there is anything that is out of the ordinary that we can search for. So let's try, we'll just do 2 queries and then we will do the employment. And that's about it. After that, I wonder if there's anything else we need to discuss. I think yesterday I was of the opinion that maybe one of you would have something that you were interested in finding or look for, that we can create a search query for you. So I've picked this one, and then there is one more I want to try, and this is right here. So we'll just do 2 queries in product and services, 3 and 4. So between 3 and 4, we've tried to look at 2 scenarios. One of them, in the third, for instance, we have used in URL, we've used in text, we have used, well, these are the 2 that we have used. So, and I remember, like yesterday, I left you a question on why do we use, or why do we not use in title as often, and what could be the difference if we had to use in text versus in title. That was a question, I guess, yesterday. I probably didn't get the answer, but let's suppose you have to make that choice, then please make an intelligent choice, and not that you don't need in title. It's just that when you're looking for something specific that, is short, or something that is stressed in terms of words that need to appear in the title, and it describes what the pages are about. Like for instance, if you're looking for forms, okay, specifically in large websites, say, to navigate through all the way. IRS website is one example. If you're looking for specific forms, then the word that you want to use, which describes that page, would include something that says form in the title. So you're going to use form. If you are looking for contact us page directly, then you could just use in title. Normally that's, you know, how they label it in the title part or in the title text of those pages. So, you know, so for that reason only, I would say that, you know, there could be a need to use in title versus in text. In text is for, you know, more elaborate words, longer search terms, and something that is incomplete, partially there. So obviously that means that you could, not that you have to use in text all the time, but in title would work in certain situations. Now, let's get to the query. In the third query, over here, you could see we are looking for laptops. We have put this within, right next to the colon sign within URL. But there's another word, it says review, which I have placed in text with the colon sign. And then I've used or, and I've used reviews, and I've used rating. What could be wrong in this search query, do you think? So I'm going to ask any one of you an answer. If you feel that we can improve this query, what should we be doing? And what could be the shortcoming of this search query, where it may not actually do exactly as we want? Because here we are looking for comparison, rating, reviews on a product. It's an HP Acer notebook. And we want it to look into Amazon.com, BestBuy.com. So if we have to improve this or make it better, what could be the approach? Where do we start? What do you think? Now in text, when we say in text review, and after this we put an or and then put reviews, would this mean that review and reviews, like singular and plural of it, as well as the word rating, would these two, like the last two away from the first one, which is connected to the colon sign, reviews and rating, would this be restricted to be found inside of the in text, or is it related to in text somewhat? Is it somehow connected with review, reviews and rating, or just reviews and rating would not strictly be confined within the body of text within text? When we do it like this and we don't put something like in text, for example, and we put another in text like this, we are not actually restricting it, or is the word reviews and rating to be found inside of the textual or the description part. It could be found anywhere in title as well as in the URL. So to restrict that further, I would just put in text colon again, and then in text colon, so that three of these are treated as one of them can be found inside the body of text, but not in the title or the title or the URL. Second thing, what I would do is, so these two words can be anywhere. Amazon.com, BestBuy.com. Maybe I should put site. and site, either of these two sites. Because these are old models, I'm not sure how many of these are, if it was a common one or if the price was different. Maybe it says HP Acer, HP or Acer. I should put H instead of, let's see if it is showing me HP and Toshiba together or not. No thanks. No thanks. This one is HP. I don't know if they still sell Acer or HP Toshiba. Toshiba. So this is fine. Now the other one, number 4, we are looking for HP or Lenovo, but not from HP.com, not from Amazon.com, not from Staples.com. So we don't want any of these words to be showing in any of our results. Wouldn't it be better if we put minus and then put site hp.com and site amazon.com minus staples.com? Where would you make that differentiation, or how would you make a choice whether to leave it as words or to use the operators in this case? If I use these as words, it can be something that is mentioned not necessarily from the site itself, but the results may carry it as if it is coming not from the original site, but it has a mention of hp.com somewhere. So basically it just depends on how you look at the results. If you want tighter results, I would just do site like this, or I could even do in URL. Best is not to make it appear from the site itself. So I'm going to use minus site and keep putting the site operator here. I think this will do better. Orlando 32835 to 32839, that could be a range for the zip codes. We want repairs. We don't want a repair shop. We don't want rental. So we put these as words and see if this is going to work. Anything else that we can do to it, let me know. But other than that change that we did, I don't see anything else that we need to worry about. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll just clean it up, see what's going on with it. Okay, so this query is intentionally set to give you a bit of an idea of how you can actually make your search better. I only got 2 results, not happy with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to improve this. Now I'm giving this search to you as an assignment right now that you can do in the class. So please make sure that we are able to make it flexible enough to approach it, because this is going to come in the exam for sure, just so you know. So this is why I'm giving you this as a practice to see what comes up, because when you are giving your exams, you should also open up another screen to test out few queries in case you need to check something, or if any of the choices you have, you can just copy and or at least try to run it at the same time to figure out if it is correct. So let's just take this and I'm giving it to you. Jim, you can try it out and see how you can improve it, see what is not working. I only got 1 result, not happy with it. I want really better results, nothing coming from hp.com, nothing coming from staples.com. I inserted the site operator to it. So it really was making it very tight for me. Just want to clarify the concept of site colon in URL colon, and to use only the words versus these 2 advanced operators. What could work better in this scenario? And if it is going to return something that actually I can use as a useful information. So this is the query. Chris just joined us. Okay. So copy and paste and see if you can try it and look it up. Next is about jobs opportunities. Last is the job opportunities. Business and industry competition, B2B. I think it's better I just leave it for you to do a little bit of checking on this, on the one that I just gave you, number 4. So the first thing I would do if I have to find something, first of all, let me just ask your opinion. If you've tried it on your site, what are you getting in your results? So I'm trying to find a place where I can get my Toshiba laptop repair done. This is what I'm trying to do. And I would start with getting rid of the minus site restrictor. What is the result you are getting on your site, Jim? Is it something that's a useful return for you?
It is not.
Or not? It is not.
So I want to ask a question. You just made the remark. Are you wanting to find a repair site?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a place where I can get my laptop repaired in this area codes or this range of area codes in Orlando. But it just kept giving me, for example, information from hp.com, amazon.com and all that, and ignored. Oh, so, okay. So it's saying repair. So I don't want a repair, okay? Or rather, let's just make it a repair shop. Let's say repair and rental. So I'm going to lose the minus sign.
Right, that's why I asked that question.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I need more of a presence of mind. I kind of I didn't realize. Now this one, repair and rental, if this is what I'm looking for, I got rid of the minus signs. And another thing I could do is use repair or rental, both. But at the same time, I have to be sure when I'm using two terms with or, they have to have the meaning in the sense of or the purpose of the search. So repair and rental are two different things. If I just want repair and I have used or, I would probably use another word, maybe fix, or yeah, maybe fix, probably. Let's try it. Dell repair in Orlando. Okay, at least I got that. So one of the things that I did is okay. Now, if I take this, I think I got what I needed though. I mean, from the results that are showing up, I got the repair shop that does the repair for laptops, Dell laptops. Was it Dell or is it Toshiba? I want Toshiba or HP. So let's go to the site and see if it is also doing something with repair shops. So it's given me a list of repair shops.
Yes, with those changes, I have 9 results now.
Okay, so that is better. Now, what happens if we get rid of minus site from all of this and see how many results you're going to get? So let's try the same, but without.
That actually broke it for me.
Okay, let me try it. Now, another thing I would like to do, I still got the same result. So just that the query was all right, except that we probably want more results. So what I should be doing is maybe open it a little bit from Orlando to or maybe just remove the restriction over here. Just use the word Orlando.
And I figured out why it stopped working for me. It was a typo.
Okay, but you know what I did
my
is
part.
now I also removed the restrictor, which is this one. Whenever you give it a range, usually it becomes extremely tight. So if it's not the date part, or if it's let's say a price, or it is a zip code, usually I try to avoid this because it becomes a very, very strict restrictor. So I took out 32835 range to 32839 zip codes, and I just used the word Orlando as a place or a location context there, and it found a lot more results, which seems to be the repair shops for Toshiba and Apple. I'm sorry, Toshiba, Lenovo, HP, all of it that I needed. So all these are repair shops. They could be in the city of Orlando, but the restrictor for the zip code is taken out. So this is what we are learning right now is how to improve the results if we are not getting what we need. Like what could be some of the ways that we can improve the search, you know? Okay, so that's what we were after, and I think we got there. Now, want to try out some thing to do with finding jobs or opportunities. So let's just try to see where that is. Contact details. Okay. Employment opportunities. So Kathleen, for the employment opportunities, what would you be looking for, let's say?
Well, I was thinking like I'm interested in research assistants, but when I look up like Google or YouTube's, I see people talking about different, different sites. But how do you know which site is genuine, and what sort of jobs are there on the market? So I'm not too sure, where I am or where I'm heading with that.
I think then this is a better one. This we can use as an example. It's a long one. You want to find out who is hiring, or there are words like hiring, wanted, jobs, career, contract, contractor position, all of these. And then, specific to what type of job, it may be the job title like copy editor, proofreader, copywriter, for instance. But when you're looking for job, it is more like you are doing more of what HR people do when they're looking for resumes, except that you are on the other side. So there is a lot of false positive where certain words apply in both sense when somebody is trying to hire someone versus when you're looking for jobs, because words like hiring can be, somebody is hiring someone, so they're going to use it as if they are looking for someone, while you are looking for opportunities on the other side. You want to use the same word for looking at what opportunities are there, who else is hiring. So this is where, you know, you get into a little bit of a situation we call false positive. You've written it correctly, but it could have a different meaning. So you have to improve it by, you know, doing a little bit of elimination of certain words from the search, from the returns or results. Like you use a minus sign where you are not looking for resumes like HR people are, or you don't want a sample of how to write resume on these positions. You're not looking for templates, but at the same time, certain sites which I know of or which I believe are the kind that are just collection machines, they're just collecting resumes, they're not actually offering real jobs. Sites like indeed.com, simplyhired.com, they don't have that credibility. So I don't want those to be entertained. And for that reason, I use minus site indeed.com, minus site simplyhired.com. And at the same time, I want something returned in for 2021. We can even change the date, or we can give it a parameter also with before and after, but it's already too long. So let's suppose that this is the way we are going to look for it. If you want to run this and let me know, Kathleen, what do you think, if you're getting the correct results or not? Can you test it out for me, please? I think it's working fine. So I don't see any problem with this query. Now I'm going to see if I can search for some social media. So even though these minuses with these words are sufficient, and we have used minus indeed, but let's just now use the site for another reason, to restrict our search within certain groups. For example, I would do linkedin.com in URL, let's say jobs, or okay, try this one. So it has taken me to LinkedIn, and in URL, it is showing jobs. So it is defaulting to the jobs that are advertised through LinkedIn, copy editors jobs. So this is fine for me, but now to improve it even more, where I want also, it could be the other condition. The other condition could be, let's say, coming from IBM. So what would I do? I would just put something in text, I would put IBM. Let's try this. It's a very long one. So if I click on this first one, I should be able to find writer's job that has a mention of the word IBM in it. Okay, one more thing that I see, it has so many pages. This is more like a dynamic page. On the left hand side, you could see that this menu or this listing is dynamic. I can tell you that this is a dynamic code and they just keep adding things. So dynamic in the sense that information keeps changing. And you would know that by looking at the very bottom of it, you'd see that this page, what happened here? This. At the very bottom, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it could be that the word IBM is used somewhere in these pages that are cached within that environment or within this page site, which is jobs/content writer jobs, except that IBM may be on the 6th page or the 8th page. So you won't be able to discover it in the dynamic side, but if it is something that is mentioned on the static side, you can, it is visibly available, or you could look it up like right away and see. When you do Control F is looking at the static code. It's not going to look at a dynamic code. So if IBM is been there or it has been cached by the search engine, and it is shown as a page by Google, when you do Google search and it is showing up as a cached page, it's going to be visible to you. Otherwise, it would have been cached, but because of the dynamic nature of this, it may be lying somewhere in the 7th or the 8th page of it. So when you do this, it's not that it is that IBM is not mentioned, but you'll have to search for it on the left hand side. It will not be discovered on the face of the page itself. Just so that you know that this is where, you know, your Control F is going. Control F is reading the screen. Control F is not reading the code that's running behind it or anything that is dynamically moving or changing, but it's going to be somewhere in one of these pages. So these are, I think, 1 through 40. So you have to search all of them and you will still be able to find the word IBM there. But let's suppose, as an example, instead of there was something here. Four applicants, okay. Low health. Let's see if there's any other company. So when this thing happens, I mean, you can do search from all of these. Some of these might have that page available as static page. And by the way, there is another thing that you can do. If you want to look for jobs that are local, then you can make it even more localized. To start with, you can add something like in URL. You can also add in URL using UK a lot. So let's just put UK. And we can put London. Okay, let me try this. See, London area, copywriter's job, and it is coming from LinkedIn UK. So I think this should work reasonably well.
Yes, then thank you. That was a good. I got a good grasp of this. Gives it a good idea how to go about it. Thank you.
Now I'm just going to see if there is anything else in the complex search that we need to work with. Otherwise, we will just go to the next topic. That this is where we get done with all the complex search and any of those queries that we did so far. All that sort of gets concluded. I think we've had a lot of hands-on practice. We did find some of the mistakes, we corrected them, we participated actively, got your input. You saw some of the ways in which we try to improve the search queries. So for that reason, I feel that I can safely say that you are ready to do your searches with the queries you can now create. Any kind of queries, I think you should be able to build on your own. Next, we have to look at how rest of the CIRS course works, where we have segmented now some of the areas. We've done the deep web. I'm sure that part we covered. We've done search engines. We did internet research. Did we do internet research challenges so far? Do you recall?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so let's start with this. Internet research challenges are discussed as some of with these headings, which actually define and describe what it means. And the reason why we are learning about challenges is because we certainly would like to know what could be the barriers, or how should we look at the data that we collect, or the information needs to be vetted properly depending on your way of looking at it and the objective of your search. So if you are just collecting information and it is not a kind of information that you would use as a data that basically is to be utilized for making some major decisions, or it is not the information which will result in actionable form. So for that reason, you certainly don't have to go too deep and look for the primary sources. But at the same time, when the objective of search is not the validity of the data, but rather to develop an opinion, if it is to verify bias, if it is fake news, or something that sort of gives you a kind of this sense that the information cannot be used for the objective of your research, will depend on how well you understand some of the challenges. So you have to look at it from that eye. Fast search, quick facts you can do, but don't make haste. But what is really itemized here, 1 through 27, are some of the, well, first of all, these titles can explain what it means. For example, let's see, multicultural and language barriers. We've discussed it already, like if you use different language, or if you get an information coming from another part of the world, then the censorship, the geopolitical situation, and all that matters. The cultural sensitivities being the primary thing. The complex legal issues where certain information you're collecting will have privacy laws and other kind of legal restrictions which are more localized than generalized. So those are complex legal issues. Some of the tabloids and magazine sites, you have to look at their reputation. Corporate advertisements, how do you distinguish between something that is shown as an article, but inside of it there is sort of an opinion, or it has an impact on your decision making, just because it is nudging you or directing you in a direction which sort of is taking you to another site, or it's something that has to do with products and services, or reading between the lines, you would know if it is an advertisement kind. We call it advertorials. So you have to be careful to distinguish between advertorials versus a real article. Religious beliefs, sensitivities, it revolves around ethics and ethical issues. Bias is always there. There is other sensitivities that are to do with religious beliefs. So one can write an article or intentionally write misinformation. Political material, news media. So knowing the type of information that you're collecting and looking at it from different perspectives, like false surveys. It's very important to know if the information that's been shown as, or the statements people use in information, like according to so and so, statistics show that this is, but there is no reference to these statistics, or even if it is there, it's not reliable. So you have to figure that out. To know if the surveys are correct or incorrect will depend on if the information that is giving you details of anything that is collected from surveys, and if the methodology of how the survey was survey was conducted, or how the sampling is hidden, like if they're not showing where the population and samples are picked from, that could have a loop hole there, and you don't want to really rely on that. Quick polls are usually, a lot of times, are false information, so you need to watch out for that. Social media and information sabotage, of course, mostly when it is to do with libel or slander or raves and rants. Somebody is upset against or has made an opinion already, a preset. Opinions are repeatedly shown in that writing. Then you have to be able to figure that out and have the eye and the sense to know if or to what level the bias is put into that writing. Ghost writers and internet forums. Now, ghost writers is a common phenomena. Used to be something previously, I'd say, like not too long ago, it used to be something that was considered as taboo, where the social platforms won't allow someone to have multiple accounts or to create accounts that are fictitious, or the person does not exist, and yet those accounts are created. So when that used to happen, there was a lot of there was a kind of a situation when multiple accounts were getting closed, And a lot of times the need of the virtual platform was not fulfilled, where the activity needed to be generated, especially for new companies that are giving reviews, that are starting a forum of some sort, or where the activity needs to be created, but for that site to have the people visit it, it needs content and it needs multiple people's participation, and it is very hard to get all those people rounded up at one time. Like, we can't have like 500 people simultaneously creating something for a small company that is got a business model which requires a lot of information or a lot of contribution of others, as a as a crowd sourcing of information, for instance. So it cannot be created at once. There are marketing companies, there are others who are specializing in this area. By one of the things that they do is they create something called ghost accounts, which means I can have 10 different accounts, create 10 different personas, and start writing about something, so that would allow me to actually bring in a lot of content to that website. Now it's become more flexible and there is more room for you to open multiple accounts. Previously, it was a big problem. So for startups, this has become like a standard, where one individual may have 10 different accounts on the same platform, and they would be contributing, like forums, for instance, where the forum is running dead. It's not actually bringing any traction for others to participate, outsiders, just because not enough cloud is created, or there's not enough topics that's been discussed. So what these people do, or where the companies like to hire people who are professional marketers, who not only work as individual but work as groups. So there could be multiple marketing companies. Each one of them can be small or large depending, but they can collaborate together to bring that sort of value, or that volume of content to that site. And therefore we have to be very careful when we are dealing with ghostwriters. Pseudonyms is another way where people are appearing with different personalities, just changing or making it into pseudonyms, and so on. The human subject and privacy, you have to watch out for that. Definitely one of the things that could be a challenge. And again, it's got it's got its roots in the legal complexities that are showed over here. Cyber vandalism, when intentionally people are, for the marketing purposes, they're doing stuffing of keywords, distorting data, or making it similar to others as competitors to compete, yet the products and services may not be exactly the same. So it is done through a scheme, or it is a more organized way of how people actually do all these things. An Upwork platform is where you see a lot of examples. It's a huge company. I think they're probably planning to go public as well. They have a lot of participants that are ghost participants. Some of the loopholes that exist in there impacts both the contractors and the clients, only because the information that flows between them has the the element of truth, let's say, cannot be verified. Could be on the client side, or it could be on the contracted side. So for someone who is collecting information or looking for something, like a project may be priced very high just to get the contract, and then when it comes to payment, it is not guaranteed, or even if you get paid, there is a chargeback. So there is a physical intentional schemes that I mean, I don't know if that's the right example, but I'm giving this example in the sense of how the internet is so difficult to scan through for any fraudulent transactions, or any intent of, or the purpose for which they have used that information may mislead you. So for that reason alone, these challenges are something that one has to be aware of, but you learn a lot more when you experience it firsthand. It becomes like a a kind of a precaution that it just runs in your head all the time. To look at it and you can see where there could be lapse, or things that you need to look for specifically. The online investigative research is one of the areas that sort of addresses those challenges for researchers. And while you learn your search techniques and online methods of how to collect information, uh, for the investigative reasons or the reasons of vetting that information, you need a little bit of an ability of doing investigations for online information, especially certain websites, like if the website is authentic, there could be people who are not genuine, or they are the contributors, yet they cannot be verified. But for the information that comes to you through those channels can only be used as a secondary source, or something that you have to take with a grain of salt, not that because it is coming from a source like Upwork, for example, it is considered kosher, or it is considered or clean and vetted. Even social media like Facebook cannot control the authenticity or genuineness of information. So there could be so many different elements. Everybody's trying hard to sort of figure it out, so that the information can be relied upon, and there could be more restraints for checking out the origin, the resources and everything, but very hard to do. Anyway, this is the slide which is talking about information sources. We talked about um, primary information, so this is giving you an idea of what is considered primary. Original work, anything that is actually created by an individual or whatever, a business who has the intellectual property to it, or someone that can describe as coming as an artwork or genuinely produced by someone, that is to be considered as acceptable primary source. In the sense of how the primary sources are described for online research, surveys is one of them, because survey is methodical, it has a process, and those procedures are sort of accepted procedures according to the research methods, which are in turn prescribed by the industry itself. So if the surveys are following all those protocols, those can be considered authentic or first piece of information, direct information. Even information that is collected through, let's say, anonymity from the source, that also is a primary information. So if the survey is saying that the information is not, it's, even though it is collected from individuals whose information actually is there, but it cannot be disclosed, even that has to have a reliability or a reliance for it to be considered primary source, depending on the reputation of that surveyor or that company that did the survey. So everything in turn is regulated somewhat through the organization or professional associations that actually are regulating, or at least maintaining the quality control, or dictating certain rules and certain norms of how they have to conduct their business as surveyors or market research specialists. So all that is going to come into play when you are to rely on those information sets. Secondary information, books, even government publications are considered secondary sources. And within those secondary sources, you do find a portion of it that are primary, like the data on individuals or public data on someone that needs to be truthful, and it needs to be exact, and has to be used, let's say, for whatever purposes, but it is coming from the government agencies. like date of birth, for instance, somebody's marital status, divorces, court cases, all of that is first-hand information, even though it is somewhat coming in government publications, but a part of it may not be under their control, like the sampling they do, some of the government information could be the population or consensus. I'm sorry, not the consensus, the census. It may not be perfect. It could be coming from the primary source, but at the same time, it just depends on how you look at it. Like if you agree with the sample or the population, you also agree with the choice of sample being tied up to the mm, to the individuals, let's say, that actually fit into that sample or are representative of that sample. Sometimes the sampling methods are such that you don't agree with the population, you don't agree with certain data which may conflict or may not be enough or wide enough for you to make decisions, especially in scientific researches. You cannot use government data. You need to work with the facts and you need to create your own test environments. So there could be a give and take. So government publications, government data may be somewhat in between. Reports of all sorts, newspapers, articles, stories. Newspapers, obviously, a lot of people, in my mind, I think of it as a primary source, as a direct source, or something that I can quote and refer to as like AFP or ABC News, and I can do those quotations or citations, references and all that, but it may not be true because later on it could be a news that might just need some correction, or it may be a news that is flowing through so many different channels, starting from local news all the way up to where they made it into big media houses. So all those steps needs a verification. For that reason alone, I wouldn't call it to be the primary source. Academic papers, I have had students that were contesting this. They said academic paper are original work, so why would they not be considered primary? And there are various reasons for this. Academic papers use books or text or something, so we cannot verify those, even with certain citation cross references. But at the same time, the most difficult part to accept is that in the academic papers, you are writing your opinions, or it may be the kind of research which has a lot to do with expressing something or an idea that could be considered as the qualitative data, which means it is expressing feelings, sentiments, it is opinions, it is reviews. So it is more individualized and it is could be subjective. So have all those different dimensions to it. Magazines, journals, blogs, of course, depends on source. And so I guess it is a matter of judgment. And at the same time, you have to really convince your clients who is eventually going to use that information to, first of all, reveal in your search proposals or research reports that are your sources, and to also ensure that the client accept those as resources. Basically, it's not for your own selves, assuming that it is it is to be distinguished into primary and secondary based on the consent of whoever needs to use that research. So it is more of kind of sources of information that can work both ways, as secondary or primary, depending. Then tertiary, we don't need to worry about. Dependency factors, different forms of information. Depends on these factors. So these questions you'll have to ask. Background information, there are different types of information, and for the reason that we have to distinguish these will depend on the way that you are putting your research together. For instance, a part of your research may require background information. Same research may require quick facts, Same research may require in-depth coverage of something or some issue or some topic. So in the same research report, you can have different types of information sets, and sometimes you have to describe them, but mostly you don't, because people have an understanding of what it means when you're, specifically mentioning and broadly distinguishing a background information. We'll talk about what's background, quick facts, and in-depth. Are you searching for scholarly or popular publications or both? Dependency, like if it is scholarly articles, of course, citation is a must, and you have to make sure the citation has a bibliographic attributes or something that connects it to the original source. Do you need primary or secondary sources or both? Yeah, question, somebody's asking something, I'm sorry. Okay. What is the type of research you're doing, such as qualitative? Qualitative and quantitative research are two formats. Basically, it is the type of data, and that's what distinguishes it between qualitative and quantitative. We need to figure out if there is a data that can have a fixed values or something numerically expressed that can work as a definitive set of information. But on the other hand, the qualitative aspect means that it is subjected to opinions. It could be, expressed as sentiments, opinions, trends, something that is become popular all of a sudden, something that is seasonal, something that would have an opinion based on certain events, like social experiments, for instance, would have a really large amount of qualitative data that's collected. The virtual groups that you would use on the internet to collect information will depend again on the opinions, your judgment as someone who is actually supposed to make that observation or have set up interviews with someone, and that information or those type of questions that flow between the interviewer and interviewed would depend again on the type of question. So if you're asking what do you think about something in the scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel, like feeling, how would you say that it has worked well for you, scale of 1 to 10, or how would you say that you like it, dislike it, or it's okay, or you don't care? So those type of answers are actually coming from the type of questions that result in the qualitative data, or the flow of data. It cannot be quantified, like expressed, but it can be translated nevertheless into quantity, or it can be given attributes in the numeric sense, but it cannot be taken literally as a definitive answer in terms of numerics. Like if somebody says yes or no, it is quantitative. 1 means yes, 2 means no. So that is something. How many number of people visited? Uh, what was your sales? What was your sales last year in the same season? That's quantitative. So there is obviously different rules also of how to evaluate qualitative information and the quantitative. In certain samples, certain situations, qualitative is the only choice. In others, quantitative is mandatory, where certain decisions or certain policies or certain projections you're making that requires historic facts, and then to use it in doing your projections. For that, you need to have quantitative data. Information search based on research objectives. Background information is where you're coming from, what is your philosophy, like mission statements, yeah, objectives, and how something is formed, what was the causes, what was the history. So all those are background information. Now this is for the businesses, but when it comes to background information to do with individuals, like you're doing due diligence and something that is of investigative nature, those background checks are different from how it is used in this one. So background information usually is when you start a research report. It sort of tells about the company, or for yourself, if you are the one sending the proposal, then you give your background information. If it's the client that is asking for proposals, then they would give their background. In-depth information is obviously, as the words say, that you need research or something that is of exploratory nature, in the sense of how you would apply your search techniques using internet as your primary source for finding in-depth information and facts. That means that you are basically going to look for something that needs to either be verified, or the concept needs to be improved, or there is a new thing that you are discovering. So in these three conditions, you need in-depth information. Quick facts, reviews, obviously could mean anything. Quick facts is something that is quantified, something that is definitely available as a list of facts that are readily available, already vetted, authenticated, something that you can reuse. So those are quick facts. Real-time information is when we use something called RSS feeds. Any one of you know about RSS feeds or real-time information that can be collected on your web browsers, where something is happening on the other side, or where the actual news is being uploaded and it is at the same time being collected on your website as a legal means, not through that's another thing, but that's called in-linking. But we are just talking about RSS feeds. RSS feeds are legal to use. What does that mean, and how would it I mean, has any one of you had experience with RSS feeds or real-time information? Lot of times you need to take the, and first of all, for RSS, for the real-time information to come to you, there could be different ways of doing it. But let's suppose that we are purely talking about online information that's to be collected through a website, not through phone calls or any other means. Like nobody's sending it to you through social media, none of that, nothing to do with Twitter. But let's suppose you have a website and there is a news section which you want to display on your site, and at the same time you in your email box also need to get something coming to you as a real-time information on a certain subject or a topic that you are interested in, that you have already tagged or you have actually um, uh, identified as the information set that needs to be coming to you at the time it happens or it gets recorded on the other side. So that happens through a code or a software that is actually readily available by news agencies. Even Google allows you to do that. So many other large size companies that are major or the main source of collection of that information allows other sites to use their code, which is maybe like 10-20 lines. It's not a huge code that you can actually copy and paste in your own websites or your web pages. And what it does is that when news changes or some information comes for that topic that you are interested in, it's going to, at the same, while it gets loaded on the other side, it is simultaneously being displayed on your website or your web page. Same way, the RSS feeds also allow you, or your Gmail account or any of those accounts for which you have an email address that works as a primary source for those to trickle into your email account. You can give that email to those websites and they will send it without you putting that code or inserting it on your web pages. Any questions? Okay, so for Jim, I would say that you should actually have a website that you can control on your own for the sake of just subscribing to some of the events and some of the RSS code that you can actually borrow from wherever you want to collect that information in real time instead of chasing after it. So it automatically comes to you. Maybe that could be a good idea. Some of the websites, like even Facebook News, there is another magazine, it's called Pulse in LinkedIn. Then there is others also, I don't know, in the healthcare agencies, but they allow you to borrow that code and then put it on any of the websites that you may want it to, bring it to you. Or you could also give email addresses for some of those sites to immediately notify you as something happened. So that is the real-time information. And the way we collect it, used to be something called information traps. We don't need them anymore, but the word still exists. Information traps was when the RSS codes were not actually legally available. Then we have information discovery or investigative information, which can have several dimensions to it. That is another set of information. Discovery is more to do with collection of not only just looking at something as an evidence, but the collection of evidence, the method of how you're going to collect that digital information so that it can be accepted in the court of law. The court system in North America, both in Canada and US, is still very primitive when it comes to handling digital evidences. There is sometimes a lot of non-rational attitude, and a lot of times you need expert witnesses. So for collecting the digital evidence, to begin with, you need really methods and understand what is considered to be the primary elements which would make those evidences admissible. Then we've got knowledge discovery in trends and prediction. Knowledge discovery can work in two ways. Here, the knowledge discovery means that you are collecting something that has history or historic data, and you're using that to build something on top of. So that is one way. Second is trends and predictions, like it says, where knowledge discovery depends on the qualitative or quantitative data collected by platforms like Facebook, for example. Some of the analysis or analytics they provide can be a set of knowledge, but at the same time, they also give you open source code that would allow those data feeds to parse that information onto certain softwares. There's a lot of softwares that actually do data visualization or convert that data into charts and sort of does analytics on its own. Then we've got big data information. Big data means anything that is floating out there, which is collected without any relationship, or that is a free-flowing, free-floating data, which also is called sometimes raw data, and that would make sense only when you collect it in a way that it can later on be manipulated, or it would have those nodes communicated with each other to create a relationship. And for the reason of relationship, unless you have access to certain data files, for example, what has population got to do with attitude? The attitude would mean the trend would mean the sales would mean the revenues, and all these are connected somewhat, but the sources of information are coming from different directions, or they are the sources that are independently operating to collect certain pieces, but they don't communicate with each other. So to join them together and put them in a more organized way, we could say that that could be part of the big data. Big data is unlimited. Nobody is able to define it properly. Big data is just the term, but rather for research purposes, we think it is more like a free floating raw data that needs to be collected and joined together to give it a sense of, or give it a meaning. Then we have got analytical or statistical data, poll, census, survey. It's self-evident, you could read it through. We will talk about an analytical or analysis, both for qualitative and quantitative data. And we will look at some statistical method that has to only do with quantitative data alone. So statistical methods are quantitative, where analytics can work both for qualitative and quantitative. That's what we have to do next. Groups or communities, blogs, articles, and opinions. This is where you collect the social murmurs. You collect this is where I guess Jim is collecting information mostly, is groups, communities, blogs, articles, things like that. And of course, there could be several other mediums but to collect that and make sense out of it, or discover the sensitivities of how it is expressed or how it is related to certain circumstances, situations, events, all that. That sort of is another set of information that has a lot of qualitative aspects. At the same time, it is used for risk management and for risk mitigations, as well as for reputation management. So those are the words or the kind of terms that I would use with reference to groups or communities for the purpose of collecting that data. I think that's all. I know I did this. I finished it very fast. I hope that it was useful information, or at least maybe 10-20% of it you were able to understand. Any questions so far?
No, it's clear so far.
Jim?
I am good, thank you.
Chris?
No,
Chris is gone.
No, I'm right here, right here. I'm all set. I'm all set.
Who else is there? So Simona, you there?
I got a message here. She said I am closing. Sorry. See you on Monday. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. So everybody wants to go and have a nice weekend. Enjoy your 2 days, and I'll see you on Monday.
Okay.
So just take it as a speech. So from what I finished up today, these are the kind of topics that we have to cover in CIRS. Some of it may not be as useful. Much of it is explained in the book, so you can always go back and check it further. But just take it as a piece of information that you can rewind with the recordings that you will get, and sort of try to, just replay it. It went too fast, I realize it, but anyway, I did my best. I had to finish it because we were a little bit behind. So thank you again. Have a great
Okay.
weekend. I'll see you all on Monday.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Good weekend, everyone.
Thank you,
You too.
everyone. Bye.